it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. My eyes done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. My eyes done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help.
Money, money, money. That's all he talks about.
There's nothing wrong with being wealthy.
I know he
Like Kanye West says, having money is not everything, but not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. If you don't like money so much, why don't you get up and go to work? Yes, I do think about all the things and one thing you have to study it. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for my family. Money's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. And now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Mr. H Cortez. Good morning, and welcome to Talking Money in the Morning live with your main man, H Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community, where I do my best to bring practical, proven wealth building strategies to working men and women all over this great nation of ours. It is truly an honor and a blessing to be coming to you live and direct from the Mikey Learns About Business studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. If you have not picked up a copy of Mikey Learns About Business, a wonderful, wonderful book to get into the hands of your young folks and let them see the potential that they have inside of them and let them know that entrepreneurship is an option. All they have to do is go over to his fan page, Mikey Knows Biz, on Facebook, and you'll see the link to grab a copy of the book there. Do me a huge favor, guys, if you're checking us out on Facebook. There's no YouTube this morning. My connection was just, I don't know, it's saying it's not private, so I wouldn't bring it up. But go ahead and share the stream with your followers. Invite some other young, aspiring authors and some existing authors to come check out what it is that we have as we celebrate Black authors on Black Literature Week here on Talking Money in the Morning live. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we're going to get right to the show this morning. Another phenomenal author, and her works is called Alice in Crackland. Are you guys ready to be blown away? Because this is a phenomenal work. She's been getting great reviews, and I'm not going to delay any further. I'm going to bring to you all the way from sunny California. Help me give a Talking Money in the Morning live welcome to Miss Wanda Marrero. Good morning, sis, and how are you this morning?
I'm well this morning. It's early here.
Yes, so and I definitely thank you for coming to hang out with us as early as it is. 5 o'clock in the morning there, 7 o'clock here in the Midwest. So I appreciate you for getting up extra early and coming to hang out with us this morning. So tell us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about the book, Alice in Crackland.
Okay, well, as you said, my name is Wanda Marrero, and I am the author, Alice in Crackland, and I got inspired to write this book. It was in the 90s, actually. It took me like 20 years to get to it. I heard a voice say, one day you're going to write a book called Alice in Crackland, and you're going to open a nonprofit called Adnawal. And I just tried to share with all my friends, but at that time, all my friends were drug users. So they was like, yeah, pass the pipe, you know. But the vision and the dream kept coming to me so vividly about the book that it weighed on my mind real heavily, but I still didn't do anything about it. And I continued to go on and live the lifestyle of drugs until about 10 years down the line. And then I gave my life to Christ. So when I gave my life to Christ, I was clean. So all the issues about my childhood began to start flooding in. Even though, you know, I'm saved, you know, and they say you give it all to the Lord, everything started flooding in about things that happened to me in my childhood. So I kept telling her, I gotta write this book. And this best friend of mine, that she's gone to be with the Lord now, she's like, you know what? You know that slogan, go on and poop or get off the pot. Yeah. That's what she told me. And so I was like really inspired, like, okay, it's time to do this. And so I called up my ghostwriter, which is my 6th grade drama teacher. You know, I could be anything but be myself. So she knew me well, and told her, you know what? It's time for me to write a book about some things that happened to me, which I never told anybody. You know, I was well into my 30s before I even really talked about it, except for with boyfriends, and boyfriends that use stuff like that against you, you know, play with your mind.
Yeah.
So I just sat down there, and then I started calling my family in St. Louis. And I hadn't been to St. Louis since I was like 16 years old, because the place just reminded me of being molested by my uncle.
Okay.
When I got on that phone and I started talking to my biological sisters, guess what? I found out it wasn't just me.
Wow.
To a lot of us.
Wow.
And so I had to get on that plane and go back and start doing those interviews with the family. We went from house to house and door to door, telling our story to relatives. And believe me, we got relatives in the loop that we don't even all know. So large.
Right.
And it was not well received. But guess what? The shackles was falling off of me and my sisters.
That's right.
You know, as we told that story. And then we went to our grandmother, because this was mostly being done by her sons, you know. And it was hard to look her in the eye. So we had a plan. It's like, one sister, I'll tell my story, but I'm not going to look at her, but you look at her and see her reaction. You know? So I went from, you know, one of the things that happens to women when we start going through an issue is we start cutting our hair and dyeing our hair or trying to make something different about ourselves. And so I dyed my hair blonde, then I dyed my hair red, you know, because I was angry, first confused, then angry, and then black. I started selling, but it took me 5 years to go and get this information. And what I did was I used a tape recorder, old-fashioned tape recorder, and I just put it on and just listened. You know, we was partying and, you know, just divulging, and stuff was coming out. And, you know, it was so angry the way it was coming out. And I'm not a garbage can. I usually don't take garbage in like that. But God told me it's necessary for you to be able to write their pain and be able to just pull it all out. So I went 5 years it took me. I kept going back, traveling, getting pieces of it. And I seen that the stories were familiar from house to house. It was familiar stories about certain things. Then the other thing was the publishing company was a Christian company. So I couldn't write all that stuff that they were saying the way they said it. So I had to really go into this deep meditation while I was listening on my job to the tape recorder, and begin to start writing and putting it together, you know, and absorbing it and processing it. And, you know, the people that they always tell you, don't let the stranger in the house. But they done locked us in the house with the stranger. You know, the person that is supposed to be taking care of us was the perpetrator and doing things to us, you know. And I found out they was taking us all to the same familiar places. I'm like, didn't nobody run into each other in traffic? That's a little joke.
and talk about a little bit. So that obviously, you know, led you to the drugs and things, trying to mask that pain, not reveal it, trying to suppress it. And I've experienced molestation as a child myself, and understand the self-medication and the suppression of the pain. And for me, it caused me to implode internally. And for others, it caused them to explode. But you turned to drugs. How long was that downward spiral with the drugs and all that kind of stuff?
That downward spiral was over 20 years. And in that 20 years, I was hooked up with prostitution, just the lifestyle, you know, just the boss. And I was a big dope dealer in the Tenderloin. And when women didn't do that, you know, I did that, you know.
Wow.
And what I found out, you can use drugs, you can use alcohol, you can use sex to mask your feelings, but all it does is an avoidance. If somebody had taught me, LaWanda, face your fears.
Exactly.
Because what he did to me, I survived it. I lived through it. So it didn't have the power that I thought it had. It was only in my mind. You know, and And the book was published in 2008, but I didn't get to celebrate the victory of the book because I was entering college at the same time. And so I entered college, finished my bachelor's, and went on to get my master's in marriage and family therapy. So now I'm kind of working with people. I can understand people, especially young people. Fierce. Exactly. Don't mask. I tell people I might like to drink some wine, but I sure ain't gonna drink no wine when I'm upset.
Right.
And they laugh at me, but no, because that's how it sets up. Oh, I need to I need to smoke something. I need to drink something. Oh, I need to do, and no, you don't. You need to face what's going on so that you can get healed and then you can get delivered. And I just want to say to the people out there that think it's all right to like touch a child, man, you mess a person's mind up. Yeah. I still have to deal with things, even though that has passed. I wrote the book so that I didn't have to carry those memories so deep in me. If I needed to know something, I can turn to page 42 or 48. There it is right there. Right. I didn't no longer have to carry it in my soul. I made room for new things. But there's these emotional scars, that just linger on, like that feeling of rejection. And I had to allow God to teach me that it's not rejection, it's protection. Because I don't always know what's best for me. I don't always know how to make the best choices for me. Because of things that happened to me as a kid, I sometimes run into things blindly. And if they don't work out, I'm like, oh, I'm rejected. No, silly girl, you're protected.
Exactly. And I think one of the things for me, it was a matter of what I thought others would perceive or think about me. So talk a little bit about that. Did you deal with that at all? I don't want to say anything because it wasn't even so much that I don't want to get him in trouble, which I should have been trying to get him in trouble, right? But it was more, what are people going to think about me because it happened, especially as a male child. I think that did you experience any of that? Or what are people going to think about you?
Yes. In fact, what happened was that happened in St. Louis when I was a little girl. And I was afraid to tell. I don't know what he said to me. I know he told me don't tell, and I didn't tell a soul. So, so my great aunt came from California, and she said, who wants to go to California? I said, I do. And I was off and gone. And today I really love trains because that train was like leaving there. I thought it was normal.
Yeah.
When something like that happened to you when you was a kid, you don't feel right about it. I couldn't stand it, but I thought it was normal. I thought it was just scary. And when I came to California, I showed it to my great aunt, none of that. But I acted out in ways that she just could not understand what was going on. I was always just freaking out. But she pampered me. She carried me through. I mean, I grew up in Sausalito, California. That's a fine place to live for an African American. With just all the things around me to take care of me. But guess what? I still ended up in the streets.
Yeah.
I left home at 18, headed to the streets, headed to the life, still running because I never told anybody except those boyfriends. I never really brought it out to the surface. And guess what? As an adult, when I brought it out to the surface, a great aunt helped me deal. She said, I know what happened to you. And I'm like, what? She says, I know what happened to you because it happened to me. But hey, when I told them about you and they didn't believe it, I knew I didn't stand a chance in hell. That's what she told me. So she was inspirational to me. Really, I'm going to go on and write it. I'm going to go on and do it. And so I collected her story first. But the thing about some people is once they give you their truth, they want to snatch it back. You can't snatch the truth back. Once it's out there, it's out there. You got to deal with it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes if they're not ready to deal with it, that's a huge thing. And you talked about acting out. And I want to give you guys this one stat, just so that we know how rampant this is in our community. Every 14 seconds, somebody's child is being touched inappropriately. And I want you guys to get that. And 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 times, it's not a stranger. It is somebody in the family, a close friend or a relative that is doing this to these kids. And like you said, it messes a kid up. For me, I suffer from neglect, right? Because my dad was in Mississippi. My mom was in New York. So my mom had sent me from New York to Mississippi, but I made a layover in St. Louis at my grandma's. And so I'm there with not my father, nor my mother, nor my brothers and sisters, my cousins and aunts and stuff were there. And I ended up staying there because my father never came to pick me up. And that neglect is how my uncle befriended me and made me think that he was acting as a father figure. And that's how he preyed upon me. But it really does have long-term lasting effects. And if we don't get this under control in our community, you talk about post-traumatic slave syndrome, that's one thing. But add on top of that, this childhood trauma of neglect and abuse and things of that nature. So obviously, Alice in Crackland, so you got into the streets and basically was just trying to run from the pain of dealing with those internal scars and led you down the path to a lifestyle. And you said that was over 20 years of you running. Talk about when Christ entered your life and you finally start to turn the table. How difficult was it for you to really pull yourself out of that lifestyle?
The funny thing about it is I would found this church that one of my son's father took me to, and it was this bus driver who was preaching the gospel,
Okay.
You would hear him. And then I finally went to that church. And when I went in there, my life didn't change just like that. I mean, I would just put money in the offering. I just come here a little bit, but just to get my feet wet a little bit because I really love the message, right? And just one day I came in, I had a trick outside in the car. I came in and he said, "You come here, come down this aisle." I'm like, "Oh no." So when I came down the aisle, I was wearing this necklace with turkey bones made out of the kids and stuff. And he was like, "Can these bones live again?" So he started peeling stuff off of me and just prayed on me. And he began to prophesy the mighty woman in God I was going to be and the things that I was going to do in Christ. And God was going to just invade my soul and show me more love than I've ever known in my life. And I'm like, yeah. I say, and when he got through praying for me, he told me, "Now you can go on outside back to the trick." How did he know that?
Wow.
How did he know that, right? And every time I walked down this, I would run into this preacher. He just he wouldn't judge me. He would just love me. Where you going? Where you going? Because, they know me as Jerus out here. Where you going, Jerus? I got about 5 names. If you read the book, you'll figure it out. Yeah. I'm going home. Home is the other way.
Right.
Like, give me $10. He never judged me. He gave me the $10. So he prayed on the money, I guess, because I'm telling you, one day I sat in my house and, I felt like the feathers on the wall turned into Mufti soldiers because I was messing around with the Muslims too. Okay, another story. And the Muftis just turned into soldiers, right? And I'm sitting on this throne like this beautiful queen, right? And all of a sudden, somebody came up and tied something around my neck. I'm telling you, this was like I was in it. And I went running through my house, scared. And I'm like, if you are God, or if you're the God that they say you are, I need you to come see about me right now. Because I don't know what's going on. You start your reggae, you start naming them all off like that mummy. Say, which one is coming to see about me?
Right.
God came and seen about me. He came and seen about me. He sent me back down to that church on a Friday night. I had these 2 black eyes from my son's father, and these people were singing praise songs that I had been singing in a week. I don't know where the songs came from, but I knew it was a connection with them singing the same songs that I was singing. Right. And, I was scared at first because God was invading my soul. He started to know things about me. And, you can understand you have this private sector that you don't want people to know certain things about you because all these things that happen to you, you have to keep some kind of sense of control.
Right.
And one thing with God is that you lose control. You allow him to invade. And I'm telling you, I kept trying to run out of there. And this minister said, "Sister, don't leave before you get your blessing." And I'm telling you, something happened that night. I hit the floor. When I woke up and I went home, I was a different person.
Yeah.
And the devil came to get me 4 months later, and I tricked myself with a little 5 shot. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I felt like I betrayed God so much because he had showed me so much love and just forgiven me and showed me a whole new me. I felt that the power of something different in my life. And I went back there and asked God to forgive me again. And I ain't never used no crack since then. So it was real hard. It was.
And what people have to understand is this is what transformation is, and it's not always overnight. Because how long was that process? So from the very first time you went into that church till you really, so you say you wasn't. I say you were delivered that night, but there was a process for you to actually receive that deliverance. So what was that process? How long was that process when you kept running to the preacher over and over and different places and? How long was that process?
In 2 years, I started spending more of my time. And then it came the evasion thing. I tried to go to other churches because the power, the enemy's still trying to hold on to you. Let me tell you, if you're a soldier in the wrong army, he trying to hold on to you. He know who you're going to be in Christ once it's revealed. Because when you live the kind of lifestyle that I live, when you turn that thing around, it's power. You don't know, it's just power. Your testimony alone make people stop and think. You know what I'm saying? Laying hands and praying on people, not judgment, it makes people want to really look at themselves. So it took a while, but I was sold out, but it's just that, when you go through things, sometimes you try to revert back to something old to feel comfort because that's familiar.
Exactly.
You try to look for that familiar thing, but in Christ, you don't look for what's familiar. You move forward by faith.
Right.
And it's been a whole process over these years. I mean, in the 90s, like I say, we're in 2017. I've been with these church folks over almost 23 years. It's still a process. I'm still peeling off layers and onions and things about me that I don't know because of everything that I've gone through. But I tell you, Cortez, I work hard at trying to be the best that I can be in my marriage and family therapist field. I'm just finishing up a domestic violence training, and then I'm going to take the rape crisis training and do some. So I want to be roundabout so that I be the best service that I can be for people like myself and other people out there who are hurting, because this is still happening every day.
Every day. Every 14.
Acting out in school, and you're trying to figure out what's wrong with them. Oh, this little Johnny's like this, little Johnny's like that. Well, you need to look in the background and see what's going on with little Johnny. You need to. Just don't look at him. Look further than that. And how I do that is I work with their strengths. Anybody I work with, we all got some kind of strengths. And you work with them with that strengths, and then they can kind of transform it to transition it to something else. And that's just who I am. My life is devoted to taking care of people, professionally and in my personal life. It's missionizing all the time. Letting somebody know you can be better. You can do something. I'm like that eagle. I watched The Flying Nun. I used to think I was a flying nun. And the flying nun is about soaring above your circumstances, right? And that's how I live. I have to soar above my circumstances. I get hit hard sometimes, but then I have to go back to my beginning and my first love. And my real first love is Christ. I go back to him. Lord, I need you to pull this out of me because this has got me stuck and I can't afford to be stuck. So I always ask, I think I need you to come and see about me. I'm tripping again.
Good deal. So listen, I want people to understand something about the word of God. I don't know how many Christians we have on tap, but when Jesus did his miracles, sometimes the miracles took effect immediately. Right. Sometimes he said, "Thou faith has made you heal right now." Right. Like you transformed immediately. Sometimes he said, "Go on your way and be healed." That means you're going to be healed over time, right? And you kind of experience that from the first time you went to the church to on your way. Even when they told you to go back out there to the trip, you went back out to that lifestyle, but on your way, God was revealing things to you, dropping things in your spirit, putting people in front of you till on your way, you were being healed. But I want you to get this, guys. I want you to get where the real transformation took place. And she said, this minister that kept showing up in my life
Yes.
He did not judge me. He just loved me. That's important, man. When you see people going through things, sometimes we can put the judgmental goggles on and we're trying to assess why they're going through it and blaming them and all that kind of stuff. Nope, don't judge them. Just love them, because that's where transformation takes place.
Yes.
Good deal. So I appreciate all of that candor, man, and you just, using your testimony to heal people. There's a lot of people on the stream right now saying, Lord, thank you for her testimony. It's speaking to me right now. I am encouraged. Good morning, everyone. It's been a minute. Thanks for touching on this subject, Cortez. My endless homeless mission with Marrero. So we've got some people who are feeling you this morning, and just really resonating with the story. So now you've had to go back and what you did was you had a bullet wound you had been trying to cover with a Band-Aid all these years. So now you went back and peeled that Band-Aid off and you did some emotional surgery. You had to get in there, cut away some dead flesh and pull that bullet out. But then when the bullet came out, now that wound actually has to heal. So talk a little bit about that as now over time. How long has it been since clean?
These things happened to me like when I was like 4 years old.
Yeah, but since you've been clean, since you've been clean.
Oh my gosh, I guess like 25 years.
25 years clean, and that is still a process of healing, right? And guess what? Even when you are healed, that scar is still going to be visible. So how do you help people overcome? Because for me, I know the scar is still visible, and I still get a little self-conscious about people seeing that scar. How do you help those that you're working with to deal with, yes, you're healed, but people are going to still see the scar? You got to be okay with that.
I just keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
I keep it real with people. I can walk into a room and people can think she's this and she's that, but I can break it right down to them and let them know I know exactly what you're talking about. And then, it's like a spirit type of thing. A lot of times I kind of ask God, well, how am I going to help this person? What I'm going to do? So it's not immediately that you always know what to do, but you sit with a person and you allow them to let you know about them. Sometimes you sit in silence, play a game of Uno. I become real good at playing Uno games with kids and stuff, and then the ones that really say they ain't going to talk to me, knocking on my door at lunchtime all the time. They want to come in. I got to tell you something. I got to tell you something. So I don't know what the gift is. If I could bottle it up and sell it, I would. But maybe it's just that my scars shine through in a positive way. Because they're always telling me, oh, my God, Miss LaWanda, you just so real. You're funny. I'm like, I'm not funny. I'm being real with you. I let people know you go down a certain path. This is what's on the end of that path. It doesn't matter what your name is. The path will still be the same, but it's your choice. And I kind of help people just deal with what's real. No, don't try to avoid it. Just feel it.
Yes.
Because the thing is, I always tell people you have 2 sheets of paper every morning. One sheet of paper is yesterday. Everything about yesterday is on there. The other sheet blank. You get to put on what you want to put on there.
Wow.
But the best thing about yesterday is you can ball it up and throw it away. You know why? It's already happened. You already survived it. So it don't have the power that you think it does. So you get to write your future. You can change who you are to become who you want to be. And that's just my motto. I'm moving forward. And it sounds a lot easier than it is, but you have to keep that on your mind moving forward, because when you dwell in the past too much, it causes depression. And then you stack on your head. I call this thinking, make you sinking,
Wow.
And think. Wow. So I can't afford to be thinking. I go back to reflect on what I have done, how it affected me, just to know that I don't want to be there no more.
Yeah.
That's what the past is for. The past is not to dwell in, because this is the problem. If you're always thinking about your past has become your present, and then you don't get to have no future. Well, I'm going to tell you, my uncle had my past, and he had some of that old present, but he sure ain't got my future. It belongs to me.
Yeah.
If I take back my power, because as long as you have breath in your body, you keep waking up. You got to move forward. You don't get to dwell in the past. Not if you're going to make it in this life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So listen, I want you to try to describe to your best of your ability, because I found this very difficult for me to describe. But when you were talking about breath, right? And I remember the very first time I told my family that I had been molested, the very first time. You talk about somebody breathing for the very first time. It's like these years, it was about 15 years between the time it happened and the time I told somebody. So it's like breathing with a shortness of breath, right? I can imagine somebody who's having an asthma attack, right? And they finally get the inhale or whatever, and they finally get to take a full deep breath for the first time in 15, 16 years. That's what it was like for me. That's the best way I can describe it. Talk about when you finally got a chance to release that pressure from holding that in so long. Describe that for us the best way that you can.
It's funny that you would say that. Releasing that pressure, I think the best part of it was when I was able to tell my great aunt, which I thought is my mom, in a Burger King. I mean, I took the biggest deep breath because I finally felt like I closed the gap between her and myself. I was finally really honest with her. And at the same time that I was taking that deep breath and a release, I was getting persecuted by family. You know, so it's like I finally came out. I told the truth. I didn't just tell the truth for me. I told the truth for them too. You know, according to what it is they wanted me to do. And I lost relationships that people, a family, I thought that really, really cared about me. That they would be there no matter what, but they ain't spoke to me, Hcortez, since 2003.
Wow.
Tell me, don't call my number. They can see me at a family gathering and they'll shun me. They see me in an elevator in a hospital. Hey, auntie, how you doing? Act like she ain't heard nothing I said.
Wow.
And other members, because they fathers or their grandfathers or something was the perpetrators and the molesters, the one that committed the incest, they become angry with you. Don't be angry with me. I'm doing what God told me to do. I didn't want to do. You think I wanted to do that? Expose people and go there? I didn't, but I couldn't take a real breath until I really did it. Even not using drugs, even being saved, I couldn't really breathe until I did it, because I found out it wasn't just about me. It was about all my relatives, the girls in the family, the future women in the family, and them people in the world that is going through this. Yeah. They need to know that they wasn't alone. And so you have to make certain sacrifices.
Yeah.
So I lost some relationships in my family, but I'm breathing deep, and a whole lot of women in my family are breathing deep, and a whole lot of women that have read this book are breathing deep.
Yeah, you know? I agree, because it was the same for me. And here's what's unique about my situation, man. And if we don't check this in our community, my grandmother, who I stayed with at the time, also ran a daycare from her house. So this guy, not only me, not only my cousins, but I don't know how many countless of the other kids who came through that daycare for I don't know how many years, right, are suffering the same effects of having gone through this. And who knows, some people are listening right now today, and they're saying, man, that is my truth, but I'm still not ready or able to speak that truth right now. And what can you say to help encourage them to go ahead and speak that truth so they can begin the process of healing?
Well, one thing I would say is, you know, they have all these ways that you can video and talk on a thing or write. Before you want to tell somebody else, tell yourself. Write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down or record it to yourself, and then go back and listen to it and watch yourself break free. Be the
Wow.
first partaker of your own rotten fruit.
Wow. That's powerful. I think for me, the first thing, one of the first things I did is I told a complete stranger.
That's a good thing too.
I told a complete stranger. We were at an event, a networking conference, and a guy from stage said, "You know what? We need to break some chains." And he said, "I want you to go out of your circle. Then I want you to go across the room. And I want you to grab somebody." And he took us through a process called shedding. He said, "I want you to tell somebody something that's been holding you back that you've never told anybody." And that was the first time I had said that out of my mouth out loud, was at that particular conference, and changed my life, man. Changed my life. And that started. Now, I, like you, was self-medicating with marijuana and boozing, and it literally took me down a downward spiral where I ended up in a mental institution for weeks at the last time I stayed, because when I started to heal, then I lost my brother. I didn't get to grieve for that, and I was trying to get through that process. And ultimately, like I said, I'm an introvert by nature anyway, so I imploded. And really, if someone who is loved as much as I am, and I didn't realize it at the time, because that's one of the things that Satan does is make you feel like you're alone and like you're isolated. I didn't know how much I was loved. So when I imploded, when someone who is loved as much as I am imploded, I thought I was just going to go into my own shell and it was just going to affect me. But I imploded and I created something like a black hole, and I started pulling everybody that I love into that black hole, into that implosion. And I really had to go get some help. So if you are out there today and this is your truth, don't be afraid to write it down. Don't be afraid to tell a complete stranger, record it, whatever you have to do. Start the healing process now, because guess what? It is a process. So when you begin to heal, sometimes, like we said, if you had a bullet wound and that bullet was still in you and you've been treating with a Band-Aid, you might have to cause yourself a lot more pain to go and dig that thing out and make sure that it doesn't get infected. That might hurt you even more, but that's still part of the healing process. So tell everybody where they can get the book, Wanda.
All right. So you can get it off my paypal.me/LaWanda Marrero. You can go through that way, or you can get it at Amazon.com, or you can just email me, Marrero, MARREO LaWanda, LAWANDA @gmail.com, and make sure to give me your address. The fee of the book is $25. I think it's going to be one of the best reads you ever had in your life, and I don't think you'll be able to put it down. I'm also setting up a blog. I think it's now in 2008. Like I said, I was getting my college degree, so I didn't really have time to deal with this. But hey, I got my degree. I've been doing my research. I'm ready. So I'm going to start doing some blogging, because I want people to be able to come call in or blog in, or as soon as they help me fix this whole Facebook thing up. You know, I'm not real technical, but hey, somebody's going to help me get the job done, and we're going to be able to converse. You know, and I like to be able for people to be able to talk to my sisters and other survivors and share, because I think the more that we share, the more that we come out, the faster our process is healing. It's like a buddy system, you know? Yeah.
Most definitely. And I would tell you like this. If this is my thought, and of course, as somebody who's gone through this is how I think. And this is what I feel that could change this overnight. If everybody who has had this happen to them would all open their mouths at the same time, we would, one, see how big the problem is. Two, because we see the size and severity of the problem, we would come up with solutions. And if that became the standard, that these perpetrators knew that you don't get to touch one child and they keep it secret, and you get to touch another child and another child. No, the minute you look at a child sideways, it's going down. Right. Then we nip that thing in the bud permanently, and we eradicate it from our communities. So I will put all the links to the books in the chat and in the descriptions. You can email her. You can, she's LaWanda Simmons Marrero on Facebook. Send her a friend request, then inbox her to get your copy of this book. And I will put all the links there. I certainly thank you for coming on, LaWanda. This has been a blessing for me. It's nothing like hearing from other people who gone through it and how they overcame, because now this gives me more ammunition as I help to share my story and to help other people overcome and to heal. Any last words before we let you go today?
I'm just really grateful to hear you share your story with me, because it looks like when I tell my story, I get more men that are telling their story, and it's just as devastating for boys as it is for women or for younger. And you also mentioned something about daycares. Watch your children at the daycare. There's a lot of perversions at the daycare. Predators are going to go where kids are. So you have to be careful who you leave your kids with, and check on the things that your children are doing to make sure that they are safe with these people that you think is a great person, because they're not always a great person. They're there for a reason to do things. So be careful in our community and take care of yourself.
Every 14 seconds, guys. Every 14 seconds, that's 4 every hour, somebody's kid is being touched. And then this is a stat that I got from 2005. It might even be worse now. Hopefully it's gotten better. But every 14 seconds, somebody's child is being touched inappropriately. So it is 7:46 Central Time. Do you know where your kids are, right? So you have to really be vigilant about this thing, and always talking to your kids about, hey, if somebody's putting their hands on you, tell me immediately. I don't care if you think it is inappropriate or not. If you have that suspicion, because a lot of times it starts off as an innocent touch, but the child intuitively feels that, something ain't right about that touch, but they won't say it because maybe he didn't touch your butt, maybe he didn't touch your private part, maybe it was just a knee, but instinctively you felt something like, wait a minute, that ain't right, and you don't say anything. We've got to train our children to start talking about these things more and more. So I certainly appreciate you coming on, Wanda. I got to get my copy of the book, and I will put all the links, man, to go get your copy of this book. Phenomenal read, phenomenal story. As you can see, one domino fell and everybody else got their healing and their breakthrough, because somebody broke the silence and everybody else was able to say, you know what? He touched me too. He touched me too. He touched me too. And the whole family began a healing process in one way, but at the same time, it caused some dissension and some separation in another way. And we're going to have to deal with that. And we're going to have to deal with both of those things at the same time when we start to reveal these truths. And that's okay. That's okay. But we've got to get to the bottom of this so we can stop this stuff. It says, what do you do when the child is 6? The molester is 6. Chances are that molester, that 6-year-old molester, has already been touched. And he's doing to others what has been done to him.
That's right.
Chances are that kid at 6 years old, who's showing that kid that stuff? Right? So chances are that kid has already been touched, and he's just doing to others what he's learned. So that child needs to get some help immediately, so that whoever has touched him can be revealed, and we can isolate that joker away from the rest of the kids in the family and deal with that. Yes. So yes. If when kids are that young and they're starting to touch other kids, and not in an experimental type of way, because some kids will see things on TV and they'll try it, but no, when kids start taking it to another level that young, chances are they've already been touched and been exposed. So you want to make sure that you start having a conversation with that kid and getting down to the bottom of who's put their hands on that kid, so that you can get that guy or that gal away from the other kids and start the healing process for that 6-year-old right now, and not wait and have him suppress that until he's 30, and that eats at him internally. So I'm going to let you go, Wanda. I know it's early out there where you are, man. So I appreciate you again for getting up early. I'm going to hang out with us, man. This has been an awesome show. So thanks again. And I will make sure that everybody has the links to the book, and let's get together. I'll help you set up your blog and do all that good stuff, man. So,
All right, sounds good.
We'll work on that. All right, good stuff. All right. That was Wanda Marrero, guys. Appreciate her for her candor and her story. Just awesome.